State Capitol buildings. There are 50 of them, and I intend on visiting all of them. Preluding to this series, getting a general sense of understanding of our nation's very diverse array of Capitol buildings is probably a good idea. In this video, I'm going to take a very rudimentary look at each of the state Capitol buildings, mainly using Google Earth, and we're going to examine the architecture of the building and the area surrounding it to get a sense of what buildings are the best in our nation. I'm going to assign a very basic letter grade like you would in school, and at the end I'll basically go over which ones are the best. I'm going to start in my home state of North Carolina, and we're going to slowly work our way to the west, and I'm also going to include honorable mentions of United States territories and commonwealths like Guam and Puerto Rico and other stuff like that. Like I said, we're going to start with my home state of North Carolina. The capital is actually in Raleigh. I prefer it to be in Charlotte, but Raleigh is still a really nicely sized city. The only issue I have with this building is that it is just really tiny. It looks nice, it's just really small compared to other Capitol buildings. And for that, I can only really give it a B, but I'll give it a B+ because it's located in a great position within the city of Raleigh. The next building up is Virginia. It's the same issue as North Carolina, where the building is so tiny for a state capital. I love where it is in the city. You can see it has a great spot of green land with everything around it, but because it's so tiny, I'm going to give it a C, and I only gave North Carolina a better grade just because, it's my home state. Then we go on to DC, and now this is not the United States Capitol, this is the building where the DC government resides, and this is an F, obviously. It's just an office building, and what's so sad is down the street is the amazing United States Capitol and Capitol Mall, and the DC building is just a poor little office building. Now on to Maryland. This building is a very interesting type of building. I really want to give it a C, so I'm going to. However, because it's so big and foreboding compared to the surrounding buildings, I'm going to give it a C+. I really like that, and I love that it's on a center circle in the middle of the city of Annapolis. That looks really pretty. On to Delaware now. This building is nice, it's comfortable. It's not really the same style of Capitol as the others, but it's also just kind of boring. It doesn't really hurt anyone. I'm just going to give it a C, and it's very basic. A state capital that is anything but basic is New Jersey's, and I had not known about this until I started this video, but I don't know what the heck went wrong with New Jersey. I think they built a capital and then just kept building capitals on it. But this is the textbook definition of an F. It has no cohesive thought whatsoever. And the city of Trenton is tiny. You could have done so much better, New Jersey. And not only F, I'm going to give this building an F-. It's just disgusting. On to one of the more obscure states, we have Connecticut. And this building has an amazing grounds, and the city of Hartford is actually a lot bigger than I thought it was looking at these buildings, but the building itself is just kind of meh. I'm gonna give it a C- because there's not a lot going on, and the parking outside of the building is just ugly. Why do you have parking spaces right outside of your Capitol building? Again, with the cities, I haven't really thought that much about before. This is Providence, Rhode Island, and this city, just like Hartford, is a lot bigger, especially in terms of skyscrapers, than I thought it would ever be, and it has a really nice harbor on the Atlantic Ocean. The Capitol building isn't too bad. The parking's a bit annoying, but there's a lot of green space. I'm just going to give this a generic B, but I definitely can't wait to check out the city of Providence. Well, on to my mother's family's home state, we have Massachusetts, and this, just like New Jersey, is one of the most hideous hodgepodges of state capitol architecture that I have ever seen. There is 4 or 5 different colors just in the outside facades of these buildings. This clearly is an F, although not an F- like New Jersey. But there's so much opportunity with the beautiful city of Boston, and this is what Massachusetts gets. Next up, we have New Hampshire, and the city of Concord, which is their capital, is not even the most populous Concord in the nation. It's not even the second most populous Concord. And the state capitol building itself, while the grounds are pretty, the building is just like a square, and the facade, except for the very front, is just kind of lacking. I'm just going to give it a D. One of my favorite states to visit is Maine, and it really annoys me that, well, one, that's the flag, I'm going to use this one, but that two, this Capitol building isn't in Portland, because Portland, Maine, not Oregon. Portland, Maine is an amazing city, but this building still, even though being in a tinier city, this building is amazing, and the architecture is textbook A grade. There's going to be about 4 or 5 state capitals that don't have 3D viewing in Google Earth, and Vermont is the first one of those. The building you can see is in between 2 mountains, but to actually get a good look, I'm going to go into 3D view on Google Earth here, and the building, it looks nice from the outside. I wish I could see it in 3D, and I also wish I could see the city, but I'm just going to give it a B to play it safe. There's nothing more fitting for the Empire State than a literal castle as their state capitol building. This is textbook A material. It's unique, but it's also beautiful, not unique and ugly. I'm going to give this an A minus. The only reason is because it's in Albany, and there is so much better cities in New York, especially New York City, that it could have been in. There are many states where the capital is not in the largest city, and Pennsylvania is one of the textbook examples. You have 2 massive cities on either side of the state, but the capital is going to be in the middle so they can split power equally. However, Harrisburg is a lot bigger of a city than I thought it was. I'm going to give this capital a B+. It's a bit messy with all the buildings around it, but it looks great. The state that I'm a bit shocked has 3D coverage is Charleston, West Virginia. Now this capital, just like Pennsylvania, the building's great. There's so many buildings around it though that just kind of clutter it up. So I'm going to give it a B, but the city of Charleston is a lot more populous than I ever thought it would have been. Next up we have South Carolina. Now this building is tiny. It's not the most interesting. The sides of the building look like an office building. However, it is in an amazing position right in the heart of downtown Columbia. You got the university there. It's a lot of fun to be in. I'm going to give it a C+. The position in the city really helps this building out a lot. On to Atlanta, Georgia. Now this is the textbook capital integration in a downtown city. I'm going to give this one an A-, just because the integration in the city is fantastic, except for the parking and the roads and everything. But the actual building itself, it's not like stellar architecture. It's good, but it's not A+ good. Now here come a couple of non-states. We have Puerto Rico first. This Capitol building is in an amazing position. It's right there on the beach, right outside of San Juan. I'm going to give this one a C+. The building itself, again, a bit lacking, but that position right there on the beach is just amazing. Moving a couple islands over, we have the Virgin Islands, and this building, here's an image because there's really no 3D view. It's passable, certainly, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it a D. If I had 3D view, I could probably judge it a lot more, but, you know, in Street View here, again, I don't really have the best view of Street View. I was trying to play around with this a bit more, but I'm just basically basing it off that like one image right there, because you can see here like the stairs, and yeah, it's nothing special. Speaking of barely passing, we have Florida here. Now they did one of the weirdest things in my opinion, which is they took their old state capital and built their new state capital right behind it. Now the old state capital looks great, but the new one is just an office building. That's not a capital, that's an office building. So I'm gonna give this one a D-. I was shocked by the beauty of Montgomery, Alabama. This has an amazing Capitol complex layout here. You have these 2 adjoining, I assume they're like office buildings, that match the building very well. I'm gonna go ahead and just give this an A-, just because the city around it, it's just, you know, tiny, but the building itself is gorgeous. Another one of the southern beauties of Capitol architecture is Mississippi. Now, this building itself is not as nice as Alabama, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a B, but it has a great positioning in the city of Jackson, even if it's a bit small for a city. And the grounds around it, like the landscape architecture, is actually amazing. Well, the southern beauty really stops the second you hit Baton Rouge, because this building, it's an office building, but it doesn't even look good like Florida, and they have their old capital farther away, and this capital looks like an old fortress, but the new one is just F. It's just textbook F. But look at that. That's not a capital. That's an office building. back to a bit more sanity, we have Arkansas here. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a B. I mean, the parking right in front of it is a bit annoying, but there is some grass on the other side. The building, you know, textbook, it's nothing special, but it's definitely B material. On to Tennessee now. This building is amazingly positioned in the heart of Nashville. Well, it's a bit outside the heart, but the building itself is just tiny. I know it sits on a hill overlooking the city, but the best I can give it is a C+. Frankfort, Kentucky is another one of those places that just does not have good 3D view. Based on this image here, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a C. The building next to it is just kind of there, but the actual building itself, it looks great. It's just under construction. Next up, we have Missouri, and I don't know why I mispronounced it. It's Missouri. Anyway, this state has amazing cities, and Jefferson City is not one of them. This Capitol building, it's okay, but I gotta give it a B- because I don't even know what is going on with Jefferson City. Although Missouri has populous cities, Des Moines, Iowa certainly fits their capital. And again, looking on 3D, the city looks a lot bigger than I ever thought Des Moines would be. I mean, just look at all of those buildings right there. This capital is textbook game material. You have a beautiful city, beautiful grounds around it, and the building is unique but also looks good. Illinois is another one of those states where you just feel sorry for the capital of the state. I mean, the building itself isn't anything special, but you just know if it was located in the heart of downtown Chicago, it would instantly look so much more better. And you know, half the building is made up of people from Chicago anyway. But I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a D and move on. See, Indiana actually knew what they were doing, putting their capital in their largest city, which is also centrally located in their state. The capital has amazing position in downtown Indianapolis. The only issue I have with it is that the sides of it, if you look closely, are just plain and boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a C+. I mean, the location in the city of Indianapolis is just stellar. Ohio State Capitol building is in one of their three main cities, which is Columbus, and this is amazing integration, just like Indiana. The only thing that's better about this building is just it's so unique with that like little circle on the top and the rectangles, but at least the sides of the building are properly decorated with columns. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a B+. Again, the central location in the side of the city really helps its case. Before we get to my favorite capital, we gotta go to Michigan, and this again is just one that's sad. I mean, the building's okay, but Lansing, Michigan is just not it. You know, I'm just gonna give this one a C and move on. My favorite state capitol building and city is in Madison, Wisconsin. The building, in my opinion, is perfect capital architecture. It's centrally located within the beautiful city, which is also centrally located between Lake Mendota and Lake Monona on an isthmus. I would highly recommend checking out Madison, Wisconsin. If you were going to just go to one state capitol building and city, I would check this one out. It's centrally located inside of Wisconsin. It's amazing. It's obviously an A+, and it's definitely my favorite capitol building. Look, it's always going to be hard to follow perfection, but Minnesota definitely put up a good fight. I mean, the building itself is a bit lacking, but St. Paul is an amazing city. Minneapolis is right next door, and the grounds around it are amazing. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a B. North Dakota has apparently combined the hodgepodge from New Jersey and Massachusetts with the office buildings of Florida and Louisiana. I'm gonna go ahead and obviously give this one an F. However, it's an F+ because it is the tallest building in the state, and that is a neat fun fact to know about. South Dakota also doesn't have any 3D view, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a C. I'm gonna look on Street View, and we also have that photo. This building, it looks great, but again, you know, there's only so much you can see without 3D view. I mean, it just looks like a textbook capital there. Nothing good, nothing bad. Someone really needs to tell Nebraska that state capitol buildings are not meant to be fortresses to imprison your enemies, because that is exactly what they have done. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a D because it is unique, but I don't think anyone is excited to visit there and get locked up forever. Moving the next state over, we have the capital of Kansas, which again, it's not Kansas City, it's in Wichita. The Capitol building looks great. The city's kind of small. I mean, Topeka isn't much better, but the grounds are great. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a B-. Now you want to talk about a very generic Capitol building. Here's Oklahoma. I think they got the message a little too well, and they just built the most basic Capitol building you ever can. And I know Oklahoma City looks nice, but the building itself, can you really count that as being in Oklahoma City? I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a C and move on. We finally move on from the mediocrity of the Great Plains to the amazingness of Austin, Texas. Before doing this, I knew that Austin, Texas was a beautiful city, but I never knew their capital literally looks like a painted version of the United States Capitol. I mean, this is textbook A+ material right here, Texas. On to New Mexico, which has another very interesting Capitol building. I think they took the whole thing about aliens way too literally and built a literal crop circle as their capital. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a D+ because it's very unique, but it also is very boring. Now, Colorado reminds me a lot of Georgia, and just like Georgia, they're both gonna get A-. It's centrally located right next to the heart of downtown Denver, just like Georgia's was in Atlanta. The only issue is that Colorado surrounded their building with parking spaces. It's a state capital, surrounded with grass. Come on, Colorado. Next up, we have the state of Wyoming, which again, I was shocked had 3D view in Cheyenne. This capital, it's nothing special. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a B, but the building next to it definitely looks very interesting. Next up, we have Montana, and we're going to the city of Helena, which I always thought Billings was the capital. This one, unlike Wyoming for some reason, doesn't have 3D view, but it's got a lot of street view, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a C+. The building looks great. It's just I can only judge so much just based on images. Under the Great North of Alaska, this building you can tell was financed by oil and banking executives because a literal igloo would have served and looked better as their state capital. I mean, this is just textbook office building material. I'm just gonna give it an F and move on. Washington is another state that you just feel bad for the building because it could have easily been in Seattle, which is just right next door to Olympia. But the building itself is nothing too special, but the city around it is just boring. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a C+. The building looks good, so that at least is saving it a bit. We really need to do something about whatever drugs Oregon's capital planners were on when they built this, because I don't know what type of architectural planning that is, but I have never seen anything like it. It at least passes just because it's one color, unlike New Jersey and Massachusetts, but I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a D+. Another one of those sleeper states that I really didn't expect too much out of was Idaho and Boise. Now this capital is amazing, but the center location in the city of Boise, which is also gorgeous, is just stellar. I'm gonna go ahead and give this an A- just because the building's a little small. Shout out to Utah's awesome new flag. I mean, this flag matches perfectly with the stellar work that they did on their capital. I mean, this Capitol building is amazing. It overlooks the city of Salt Lake City, and you have these amazing mountains as the backdrop. I mean, this is textbook A+ material. Good job, Utah. Such beauty just makes you feel sad for states like Arizona. I mean, you can kind of see what they did. At least they have a building that looks pretty, but what the heck is happening around it? I mean, there's just so much going on here in Phoenix. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this an F because I have way more questions than I do answers when it comes to this building. When I visited Carson City a long time ago, I remember that the Capitol building was like good, but it was just surrounded by trees, and Google Earth captured that perfectly. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a C just because we can't really see anything that's going on in there at all. I feel like California just hasn't lived up to their potential like New York did because, dude, you're the Golden State. Build your capital out of gold or something, not just in the middle of Sacramento. And Sacramento's a great city, it's just this capital is just not it for the state that is literally the epitome of American wealth and power. Before we get to the last state, we have a lot of Pacific Island territories. First up, we have American Samoa. Now, this one was under construction when Google Earth took the satellite images, but based on that photo I have, it looks great and perfect for the island. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a bit of B and move on. Now, Guam obviously does not have 3D views, so this is a bit challenging to kind of see what it looks like. It looks good. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a C. I mean, there's only so much that you can see with just photos. The gardens, or I guess the grass around it, look pretty. It's on an island, so a C should suit it. And then again, for the Northern Mariana Islands, there's obviously no 3D view. Unlike Guam, this one is just way more boring. This just looks like an office building, but island theme. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one a D and move on to the last state. Now on to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, we have Honolulu, Hawaii, and this Capitol building, although not, the common standard, United States Capitol building that we've seen a lot, is perfectly matching with the island culture, just like American Samoa. I mean, this is textbook A+. The building looks great. It has a great position in the beautiful city of Honolulu. You got the ocean, the mountains, everything around it. It represents the state perfectly. This is A+ if I've ever seen it, and it's a great capital to end on. In the end, there ended up being 11 capitals who got an A, 13 who got a B, 17 who got a C, 8 who got a D, and 7 who failed. The capitals who failed are DC, but not the actual capital, the office building for the government of DC, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Louisiana, North Dakota, Alaska, and Arizona. And half of those failed because their buildings were not Capitol buildings at all, just office buildings. Or in the case of New Jersey and Massachusetts, they were very, 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 very ugly. And then the 4 capitals who got not just an A, but an A+ were Wisconsin, Texas, Utah, and Hawaii. And my favorite out of all of them by far is Wisconsin. That's because I've been there. My cousin goes to school up there. But objectively, I think the Hawaiian state capital has the best look. It has the best feel that matches the state. It is what I think the epitome of a state capital is. And in the future, if states remodel their capitals or build new ones, they should look to Hawaii for the example. I'm going to close out this video with more shots of the Hawaiian capital because it is just gorgeous. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I can't wait to actually get out there, explore all of these capitals. I'll have videos on each and every one of them. That's just going to take a lot of time because traveling across the country does. And yeah, as always, have a great day.